The following program is rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
Oh, hey, hello farmers. Welcome to yet another episode of KILIMO Diaries here on TV47. Now, I know fish is a common delicacy in most of our homes, but we're used to getting it the traditional way. Now, on this episode, we explore the modern way of fish farming, especially using the RAS system. Now, what is it? How does it work? And how could you use this system to farm your tilapia, catfish, and even ornamental fish? Now, join me as I meet our model farmer of the week, Mr. Patrick. And usisahau, get a pen and notebook. Let's learn. Twende! Ala, Patrick.
Mambo.
Tushaanza kufish. Niko poa.
Tumeshaanza. Yeah, but this one we come to do up is a recreation activity. Sport fishing.
Sport fishing.
Yeah.
So it can be one of the things I do on my leisure time.
Exactly. Especially when you come here, you can do sport fishing in this dam. We have a lot of fish, tilapia, catfish. Yeah, for that.
Lakini nikitaka kukula.
Yeah, kukule kwa fish farm.
Iko kwa fish farm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sawa. So hapa ni farm gani? And how long have you been in existence?
This is Kamudanga. Kamudanga Farm Limited. Iko Mua location, Machakos town constituency, Machakos county.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a farm that has been in existence for over 15 years now, producing fish. And our journey started in this dam.
It started here?
Yeah.
Hapa penye saa mumetani kwa ya leisure?
Imekuwa for leisure, but this is where the dream started.
Okay.
Yeah,
so the dream can start small, but it can become a big thing over time.
Yeah. It depends with their consistency and the resolve.
And the resolve.
Along the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering, you know, what really inspired the fish farming? You could just start a farm and probably do poultry or do something else. Why fishing?
Yeah, so fish farming here, it was really inspired by this dam. So the owner of the farm, Mr. Anthony Ndeto, and the brother, Mark Ndeto, at some point, this is a man-made dam. So at some point in their growing up, they went and bought fingerlings and brought into this dam. This is Ukambani area. People here have never seen fish.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So when they brought the fish, reception was massive.
Okay.
Yeah. Just the idea of there's fish around this place. So people were very excited, and then they took it further. They made a boat for the dam and all that. So that reception is what gave them an idea that there's something here, and they saw it as an opportunity.
Okay.
So they brought the fish, they stopped into the dam, but a time came for them to harvest the fish. The dam is wide and deep. It was very hard for them to harvest readily when they want the fish.
Okay.
You see, you have to do this process, come here with the hook and line, because you cannot do a net you cannot do seining with nets in the dam. Yeah. So in that dilemma, they were told it's possible to do fish farming in concrete tanks.
Yes.
So he was directed to a farm somewhere. He went and he saw how they were doing concrete tanks. He brought that idea and extrapolated for five times what he saw.
So, yeah.
And when he tried to grow fish on this system again, it failed because this place is a bit high on altitude. It's around 1600 meters above sea level. So issues of temperature became the biggest cause of slow growing for the fish. So samaki iko inakuwa vizuri. Yeah. So again, in that challenge, he met some people with a very good technology, the RAS system. It's a Dutch-based system, and this is what has been installed from 2014 to date. This is what we have been using now successfully now. What you're going to see today, the RAS system.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, Patrick, we have gone through the farm and we have seen now this new system, the recirculating aquaculture system, the RAS system. And what is it for the viewer who's hearing it for the very first time, and how does it even work?
So RAS system is stand for recirculatory aquaculture system. So this is the best system that can be done in areas especially with no water. And as you know, Kenya is 80% arid or semi-arid. So the regions of Ukambani, the northeastern region, we have resources, underground resources. It doesn't mean they cannot farm fish. It's possible because Kamudanga farm is located in Machakos County, one of the semi-arid areas, and we have been able to farm fish for over 15 years now.
Yes.
So RAS system is when you bring in a system that is able to complement what you have. For us, we don't have a lot of water, so we get what we get from the underground. We bring it into the system. So the system recirculates the water. We have filter units where we filter the water and the water is coming back to the fish. So we say our system is able to reduce the water demand for farming fish to about over 90% reduction in this water demand.
Right.
And then we use a very small area to farm a lot of fish. This farm sits only on 1 acre piece of land within the 8 acres that you have seen. And on this 1 acre, we stand to be one of the largest farm in East and Central Africa in terms of our production. So we have intensified our farming, and this is the most modern way of growing fish. People are no longer doing pond farming because there are a lot of challenges with this. You cannot control your production. You cannot maximize on the space that you're using. There's a lot of water demand for this pond system and all that. And then again, not everyone is within the lake region to drop a cage in the lake. Yeah, so this stands in as the best system for this. Yeah.
You know, with this system, as we're walking around, I saw that, you know, it's very controlled. And it's like a small greenhouse for the fish itself. So perhaps if you could just go into detail in terms of what exactly are the components that are in this system.
In this system. Yeah, that's a very good question. The art of growing fish is based on 2 principles. One, you have to have a perfect environment for the fish to survive and for the fish to grow. It starts with that. And then remember, you're taking fish from wherever you're taking them, you're bringing them in your compound. This is an animal. It's an organism like any other organism. So for it to thrive for you, you have to provide all the environmental requirements
that it requires.
So it starts with that understanding. And then the second most important thing is the nutrition aspect of it. So this system addresses mostly the environmental requirement for the fish. So this environmental requirement, we have over 11 parameters that we make sure are in order for the fish to, first of all, survive, remain alive within our compound, and then grow, which is our sole responsibility each day, that our fish must add weight every day. They have to add at least 3 grams per day. Yeah, if
so that means a lot of food.
So for this system, for it to be that perfect, it has to have these components you're talking about. So for the environmental requirements, one, you need to have the right temperatures. And that's why you'll see all our farming is in-house farming. So we bring about the greenhouse effect. Remember, the type of fish that we grow, the tilapia and the catfish and the ornamental species that we have, they are warm climate fish. They do well in warm waters, and also fish are cold-blooded. The temperature of the surrounding determines the temperature of their body. So for these 2 reasons, you have to have the best temperature, which is between 27 to 30 degrees for us to get that growth that we intend. So temperature is one. Then oxygen is the other component, very important. Remember, we are putting a lot of fish in a very small area. In a pond system, they put 4 fish per meter squared. So for every 1,000 liters in a pond system, they put 4 fish. But in our system, for every 1,000 liters or 1 meter cube, we put around 120 fish.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah. So with that number, you have to make sure you are adding oxygen in that water. And as we know, fish uses oxygen that is mixed with water. That's what they're able to filter out. So we have to pump in oxygen. So that's the other most important component. And then the other component is when you have a lot of fish in a very small area, they will release, they will have their biological processes. They will excrete in there, they will remove the solid waste, which is their poop, and then the nitrogenous waste. You know, fish feed, the biggest percentage of it is protein.
Yes.
This is what farmers check, and this is what is supposed to be. That's supposed to be a certain level of protein. So when they eat this much protein, not all of it will get it assimilated into the body. At least 80% of it will be excreted, and it's normally excreted in the form of ammonia. Now, when it comes to an intensive system, like a RAS system, you have the 120 fish in a 1 cube. Every fish is excreting that ammonia.
Oh, that is crazy.
Yeah, it can be very toxic to the fish. So you have to have a provision of removing this waste. So we have what we call the mechanical filter, where we remove the solid waste, the poop. This can be that poop or excess feed, but we don't encourage people to feed fish, to overfeed their fish, but it happens. So excess food and the poop is collected at the mechanical filter, and then we have the other filter unit, which we call the biofilter, that removes this ammonia. Yeah, so a biofilter is the heart of a RAS system. It is the main system. Yeah. So what it does, it converts the ammonia into nitrates. So we have an environment where we have a bacterial reaction that feeds on ammonia and converts the ammonia into nitrates, and nitrates are less toxic to fish. And with those components now, plus the other parameters that we make sure are in order, like the pH, the turbidity of the water, the alkalinity of the water, the nitrites, the nitrate, and the water hardness, all these other parameters. Now they are all within the required range, we say now we have a healthy system.
All right, that is a lot, but you have really, broken it down very well for us. And for that, I want you to hold all those thoughts as we now take our commercial break. When we will be back, we'll get to now hear more about now the process, the production, and then even the harvesting, and how you could make this into a business. Do not go too far. Keep it TV 47. Welcome back. This is KILIMO Diaries, and on this episode, we are exploring modern aquaculture. And of course, with me is our model farmer of the week, Mr. Patrick. So before the break, situme handle the RAS system entirely. Hapa kwa farm najua mna deal na tilapia, catfish na ornamental fish. Perhaps ni kwa nini?
Yes. So we do the 3 species, as you mentioned, and for different reasons. So remember, this is a commercial farm, and we farm as directed by the market. So we did a survey of the most preferred fish, and we also need a fish that will complement how we want to grow the fish. Yeah, so the market preference within Kenya, they prefer a lot of tilapia. Given
actually, I don't think I knew that you can eat other things
apart from tilapia.
Apart from tilapia.
It cut across the whole expanse. That most people would prefer tilapia over the catfish. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason why we are doing 80% of our production on tilapia is the buying price of the fish, or that tilapia commands a better pricing compared to the other fish, maybe catfish, because we sell our fish at 650
per fish or per kilo. All right.
So that's a very good pricing. Fish, and remember, we are doing this in a market where we have other people who are selling fish at 350 a kilo, 400 Kenya shillings a kilo, but we are still able to do our fish at 650.
All right.
Yeah.
Take me through the process. I know there's the hatchery bit of it, and then we come to the nursery, and then now before you introduce them to the big ponds. Let's go to the nursery. What typically, to the hatchery? What typically happens there on a daily?
So the journey of every fish before it gets to the market starts from the hatchery. So the hatchery, basically what the hatchery does is receiving eggs from the parents. So we have our parent stock. We do a very careful selection to select the best parents, considering factors like they must be healthy, they must not, they should not have any deformity, they should have the best genetics and other factors. Then we put them together, they give us eggs. This more so for the tilapia and catfish. Then now, from there, now we take the eggs into the incubation system. They undergo the incubation process, then they hatch, and then from hatching, we take them to the swim-up area where we grow them now to the required sizes because we need to supply these fingerlings to farmers. We are connected to over 10,000 farmers within Kenya and outside Kenya where we sell our quality fingerlings. So we grow them to the size of 0.5 to 1 gram. We have to, like now for tilapia, it's very interesting to note that you're supposed to farm male fish only.
Male fish only.
Yeah.
And how do you know he ni male, he ni female?
Exactly.
Fish is fish.
Yeah. Especially when they are still young, it's very hard for you to tell apart which one is male and which one is female. So you're supposed to grow male fish only because males grow very fast and they take a shorter time. And also they get very big compared to the females. You see, when you have males and females together, they end up turning your system from a production system to a reproduction system. They will start breeding rather than growing, and you are keeping them for them to add weight. So they will waste a lot of energy in breeding rather than concentrating on their growth.
And you know, walking around, I did realize that the males were very colorful.
Yeah.
I didn't know tilapia can be that colorful.
Exactly.
Perhaps why were they colorful?
So in fish society, normally, because for them, when you are preparing them for them to become broodstock, first of all, you need to pair them. So we pair them in the ratio of 1:3. For
One
every
male,
3 females.
3 female.
Yeah. Within that tank, you will be able to realize the males are territorial and they are the bigger ones in sizes. So they will command a particular territory within the tank. When the males are ready to breed, now they change their color to pink or red. Yeah. So we say is in fish society, male do the makeup. Wanajirembesha to attract the female. Yeah, so they will attract the female. The female will come to a particular male. They will court for around 2 hours. Then she's ready to release the eggs. So within the nest, we have provided them with the nest. So these are tubes. They get in. She lays eggs. After laying eggs, the male fertilizes the eggs externally. Then the female will collect the eggs and incubate them in her mouth. And then our job is simple. Every 10th day, we come and open the mouth of this fish and collect the eggs. One female can give us around 1,000 to 1,500 eggs in one spawning. And they can spawn like twice in a month. So we collect all these eggs and then transfer them into the incubation system as you have just seen. And then now they will hatch from there and then we start interacting with the fish after hatching.
All right.
Yeah.
And how, once they're hatched, that is where now they go to the hatchery.
Yeah.
But before then we get to the hatchery, just still at the hatchery.
We're still in the hatchery.
What is the feeding looking like? Do they feed crazily?
Yeah. So remember, after hatching, we want to start interacting with the fish. We want to have a controlled growth, a predetermined growth. So feeding will follow a process. Yeah, because we totally depend on commercial feeds because these commercial feeds have been prepared with all the nutrition requirement for these fish according to their particular sizes as the fish are progressing from one size to the other. So within the hatchery, these fish, they are still very young. They want a feed that is more on protein because their cells are regenerating more. So we concentrate on this kind of feed, and this is what is known as starter in the market, the starter feeds. So we buy the starter feeds. It has all these elements. We bring it. This is quality feed. Now when it comes on our hands, now it is us to determine the process of feeding. And this process of feeding starts with determining the right amount of feed. So the right amount, you focus mainly on the size of the fish and the number in a particular tank.
Okay.
With that, you can be able to calculate what is the amount that you're supposed to feed them.
All right.
Considering their body weight. So they're supposed to eat a certain percentage of their body weight. Yeah. And then now we get the right amount, then the feeding frequency. How many times are you feeding them per day? So within the hatchery, we feed them 16 times in a day.
16 times.
16 times. So they start their feeding at 10 a.m. They will feed all the way to 5. When the hour clocks, they are fed. When the hour clock, they are fed. That's 8 times. Then they will rest for 4 hours up to 10 p.m.
And then feeding now every other hour.
Yeah, again all the way to 5 a.m. So our farm is 24-hour kind system. We have night shift people and we have day shift people, making sure the fish are fed, and with that we are able to achieve a very good growth.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, of course, from the hatchery we move to the nursery.
Nursery, yeah.
What is the difference between fish in the in the hatchery and those in the nursery?
So remember, within the hatchery, most of these fish are still in the fry stage. When the fish are less than your fingers, the size of your fingers, they're either juvenile or a fry. So here, it is intensive care. You are taking very good care of them. You are really making sure the system is okay and all that. When now they move out of the hatchery to the nursery, these are intermediary kind of section. It's a very important section. This comes about understanding the growth pattern of fish. When fish is between 0 grams to 100 grams, that's the period when they take the longest time of their growth. They can even waste over 4 months within that period if you're not very keen. So the nursery come in to make sure now we speed up that process. So within our nursery, the fish will take the 2 months. They grow from 1 gram to 50 grams in 2 months. So there again, we are making sure we have provided all the environmental requirement. You'll see it's a very nice system, well designed. And then we make sure that the nutrition also they are getting at that stage is top. Especially the relationship between the fish size and the particle size. The feed particle size is very important to start considering that within the nursery stage. Yeah.
So of course now from there they will now be fingerlings.
Yeah.
And now you can transport them to the
Growout system.
To the Growout system.
Yeah.
Now what happens? Is it the same system still even at the Growout ponds?
So this is the final stage. So fish come from the nursery, they stay here for 4 months. They grow from 50 grams to 500 grams. And then we do intensive stocking. Each tank carries 7,500, and this is a tank of 50,000 liters. So you can see how intensive it is. And then now, of course, we're able to give the environmental requirement, and we feed here 8 times in a day.
8 times
after every 2 hours.
All right.
And then in 2 months, in 4 months, we're able to get our fish at 500 grams, which we sell to our clients.
All right.
Yeah.
So in general, how long is the production cycle from when they're young to when it can come to my plate?
To your plate.
Yes.
Farm to fork.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the hatchery, they stay around 30 to 40 days. That's a month. Now that's the egg now to the size that we are able to sell, and also move to the next stage, which is the nursery. Within the nursery, they stay there for 2 months. They grow from the 1 gram size all the way to 50 grams. And then the final stage, they stay for 4 months to get to 500 grams.
So in total,
from
7 months.
To 500 grams, 7 months.
7 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the harvesting bit. Now, do I get it directly now from the Growout ponds to my plate? There's a process.
No. The moment you get a fish direct from your production unit to your plate, the taste will be off. And this is what we have been fighting all along.
Yeah, like samaki za nini si tamu.
Farmed fish is not as tasty as lake fish and all that, because most farmers do that mistake. It is the high time people now start doing the right practice, which is known as the purging system. Purging is where now you move the fish from your production unit to another unit with clean water, and you starve your fish. It's important for at least 6 days. So through that, the fish remove all impurities that it can carry. Because in the process of production, they will release the ammonia, they will have the excess food, sometimes the poop. So that fish is a little bit impure. It has these production impurities. So with the purging system, you remove all this and you end up getting a very good tasty fish. In fact, we say you get the true taste of tilapia through this process.
But at the same time, you somehow lose some weight.
Yeah, we lose around 5% of their weight, but it is worth the quality that we get at the end of the day. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So how can one reach you to learn?
Yeah, Kamudanga Farm is in Machakos, Mua location, but you can reach out through our contacts. We have our phone number that is 0722 522 169 or 0704 405 406 or through our email kamudangafishfarm@gmail.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Asante sana Patrick
Karibu.
for taking us through the RAS system. And from here, mimi nataka kula samaki.
Iko tayari.
All right. And thanks to you back at home. I hope you have taken some notes how you could start this, how you could do it, and how you can reach out to Patrick for some help. Now, this is KILIMO Diaries that we do every other Sunday. And of course, thanks to you for watching. And thanks to our partners, the Kenya National Farmers Federation. Let's do this next week. Of course, this is KILIMO Diaries, a show for the farmer, by the farmer, with the farmers.